Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace and blessings of Allah be upon you all. It's the Hib Abdur Rahman, and today I'm doing a reaction video to Jordan Peterson completely destroys the feminist narrative. I've seen a couple of his videos before on Facebook and YouTube and other different social media sites. And I'm going to take a step back from doing a specifically Islamic reaction channel and doing reaction videos on, like I say, specifically Islamic things, to obviously, like I say, do a reaction on this, which is getting into more social political views. But yeah, so let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section. But yeah, so without further ado, let's get started.
So that's my idea of the patriarchy, which is a system of male dominance of society.
Yeah, but that's not my sense of the patriarchy.
So what's yours?
Well, in what sense is our society male-dominated?
The fact that the vast majority of wealth is owned by men, the vast majority of capital is owned by men. Women do more unpaid labour.
Very tiny proportion of men, and a huge proportion of people who are seriously disaffected are men. Most people in prison are men. Most people who are on the street are men. Most victims of violent crime are men. Most people who commit suicide are men. Most people who die in wars are men. People who do worse in school are men. It's like, where's the dominance here precisely? What you're doing is you're taking a tiny substrata of hyper-successful men and using that to represent the entire structure of Western society. There's nothing about that that's vaguely appropriate.
But I could say equally well that most rape victims are women. Terrible things happen to people of both sexes.
And you could say that with perfect utility, but that doesn't provide any evidence for the existence of a male-dominated patriarchy. Well, it just means that terrible things happen to both genders, which they certainly do.
But there are almost no women who rape men, for example. So that is an asymmetry there in sexual violence.
Well, yes, there's an asymmetry in all sorts of places, but that doesn't mean that Western culture is a male-dominated patriarchy. The fact that there are asymmetries has nothing to do with your basic argument.
No, but you might equally...
This is a trope that people just accept. Western society is a male-dominated patriarchy. It's like, no, it's not. That's not true. And even if it has a patriarchal structure to some degree, the fundamental basis of that structure is not power, it's competence. That's why our society works. It's only when a structure degenerates into tyranny that the fundamental relationships between people become dependent on power. It's not power. If you hire a plumber who's likely to be male, it's not because there's roving bands of tyrannical plumbers forcing you to make that choice. And it's the case with almost every interaction that you have at the face of our culture. You're dealing with people who are offering a service of one form or another, who are usually part of the broad middle class, and what you're looking for is the person who can offer the best service, and you can find it. It's not a consequence of being dominated by anything that's tyrannical. And then again, our culture, our Western culture, which is by no means perfect, and certainly has tyrannical elements like all cultures do, is the least tyrannical society that's ever been produced, and certainly the least tyrannical society that exists now. This whole patriarchy thing, I think you have no idea how pernicious and dangerous it is.
Well, no, I don't. I really don't. Go on.
Throughout history have fundamentally cooperated to push back against the absolute catastrophe of existence. A terrible death rate, the probability of chronic starvation, early death, disease, the difficulty of raising children with all the death that was associated with that. And to look backwards in time and say, well, basically what happened was men took the upper hand and persecuted women in this tyrannical patriarchy is an absolutely dreadful misreading of history. It's a terrible thing to teach young women, and it's a horrible thing to inflict upon men.
Well, yeah, I thought that was actually a very well composed argument. Obviously, I understand that that's just a short kind of 3.5 minute clip of the full debate, because of the full debates coming up in the next up videos, which is about 1.5 hours long. So obviously I'm not going to do a reaction to that. It's too long, and I don't like doing reaction, not just because they're too long, but also because obviously I can edit it down, but because I feel that if I edit it down, potentially it's going to, what's the word I'm looking for? You're going to lose things in the debate if I edit it down. You're not going to get the full experience. And so what I will try and do is I'll try and include the link below for the full debate if you guys want to watch it on your own time, obviously, as well as including the link for the original video. But yeah, I thought that was a He thought he had a very good counter argument to that, in the sense, like he said, that, you know, people who say that we live in a male-dominated society and in a patriarchy, that they take a tiny subset of, like he said, hyper-successful men and use that to define all of society. And obviously he includes that with counter-arguments such as the most victims of violent crime are men, most people incarcerated are men. I don't know whether he said this, I can't remember if he said it in this particular one, but he said this in another video where obviously if a man and woman go for a divorce, and I actually think he said this in the same debate with this woman, just in a different video, but he said that if a man and a woman go for divorce, it's 85% more likely that the woman will gain custody of the children, even if the man has done nothing wrong. And even in the sense that it's a case of where the marriage just hasn't worked out, not saying that one side's particularly done anything bad to the other, they have to almost make up. I don't want to use the term, sorry, shouldn't use the term makeup. I just can't really think of a better way of describing it because I've never been through a divorce or a marriage for that matter. But yeah, sorry, but the fact that they've got to almost make up that, you know, one side's done something bad to the other in order to allow for a divorce, because apparently, at least the way it happens in potentially America, judging from what he said in the other video, that if they won't grant you a divorce on the grounds that the marriage just hasn't worked, which apparently in the UK is allowed, and I don't understand why they wouldn't allow it. Some people, they after a while they just don't get on. You know, the spark isn't there anymore. So, but anyway, guys, let me know what you guys thought in the comment section. What you thought of this video, what you thought of my reaction to it. If there's anything else you'd like me to react to, please again let me know. Again, I'll try and include the link for the full debate so you can enjoy in your own time in the description. Please make sure to like and subscribe as always, and until then, peace.